Alright, number 4 on lesson 9 is probably going to be a popular one for people to watch the video, because I could see some of you struggling with finding the answer to this. So we're mixing a specific hair dye, and it needs red tone, gray tone, and brown tone, a little bit of each in ounces, and we're trying to make it where it all adds up to 20, and then of course where it all adds up to 100. And what makes this a little complicated is that the ratio here all has fractional parts. Alright, so let me show you guys a little trick when you have a problem like this where you have all fractional parts in your ratio, because right now our ratio is really ugly. 1 1/8 to 3/4 to 5/8. This would be much easier to kind of get a grasp on if these numbers were whole. So a good trick to be able to change all of these to whole numbers is to multiply all of them by the least common denominator. Okay, if you multiply this times, for example, times 8 over 1, okay, which is 8. All right, you multiply that by 8. What's going to happen is you're going to get 40 divided by 8, which just leaves you essentially with the numerator. Okay, so that's going to make that whole. So I'm going to multiply every single one of these by 8. And if I do it to every one of them, they're going to grow proportionally, so the ratio is going to stay true. So this would become 5 if I multiply 5/8 times 8. If I do 3/4 times 8, or 0.75 if you want to think of it that way, if I multiply that by 8, I get 6. So this becomes 6. And if I do 1 1/8 and I multiply it by 8, that gives me 9. Okay? So this particular ratio right here is nice because it technically answers my question, because 9 plus 6 plus 5 gives me a total of 20 ounces of dye. Alright, and all I did here was I multiplied by a really compatible number that gave me nicer ones for my ratio. 9 ounces of, of red, 6 of gray, 5 of brown will make 20 ounces of dye. Now if I want to extrapolate this up to 100 ounces, then everything needs to be multiplied by their constant of proportionality, which is 5. So I would multiply all of these. So this answer, by the way, is the answer to A. If I want to get 5 times more ounces, then I want 45, 30, and 25, because that's 5 times more of each one. And if you add all of those together, you'll get 100, as you'll see there. So not as bad as you might have thought in working that problem out. You just need a real nice compatible number to make it a little more easy to work with. Okay, and then lastly, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Okay, number 5, graphs that could be proportionally related. Straight lines through the origin. So yes, not straight, not through the origin. There you go. Easy enough. It was not too hard.